Good morning. It's about 8 minutes past 10 this morning, Sunday morning, the 18th of February. How you guys hanging in out there? You doing okay? I vented with Stacy yesterday. I appreciate her so much. Anyway. I guess I said a lot of things that I had been thinking about, and I expressed them easier with her, which is cool, because you should be able to talk to someone about just about anything, right? Whether you agree with it or not, you still discuss it and talk about it. And as I went into this diatribe yesterday, she began to tell me that she was trying to write down some of the stuff that I was saying. I thought it's kind of funny. She was trying to write it down. She said, "What did she say again?" Oh, it's funny. But and see, that's why I like conversations, because now I'm talking to you guys about a conversation that I had yesterday. It was a real conversation. Her and I were talking to each other on the telephone. We could hear each other's voices. If she was saying something, I could stop and let her say what she was saying, or you can tell, you're not just throwing stuff out there and you have no idea what's going on the other end. You're listening to them. You're hearing them. You can hear their inflection. You can't see inflection in a text. There's no way. You could be sarcastic in a text. I mean, I tend to be sarcastic all the time, but most people think I'm just being a jerk because it doesn't translate well. But I don't know. I just think it's so amazing to see how many things have been placed in our path to keep us from communicating. I mean, we've all been given one of these. Whether we wanted it or not, we're kind of stuck with them now at this point. And whether or not it's a smartphone or a dumb phone. I guess the old flip phones would be dumb phones now. And if these are smartphones, those were, I don't know. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. I just think it's odd that we've got the ability to actually speak to each other in real time and see each other's faces if we want to. But we used to talk about that technology when it was in the Jetsons cartoons, and we saw it on Blade Runner and stuff like that at the payphone where someone's face pops up, right? It's picture phone, and nobody wants to use it, and it's partly because I think they just don't want to have communication with, vocalized communication, like, just talking on the phone without any picture. That takes too long. It takes too long to stand there and talk to somebody. I can throw information at you and be on my way. And you can throw me information back and I'll look at it if I have time and I'll get back to you later. And that's not a conversation at all. I'm still a little kind of bummed out that there are pictures of family out there that everybody's seen except for me because they're on Facebook. I'm not going to name any names. I'm not going to name any names. But I'm just saying, I think it's interesting that there's a lot of people out there that see family pictures because there's Facebook. But I mean, I'm not on Facebook, and it's well known, but I still don't get the pictures. So I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. This is the kind of communication realm that we are living in, and it's not really communication at all. It's not. I remember, I think it was an old AT&T banner or slogan where they had these psychedelic hands shaking each other, coming out of a rainbow cloud, or I don't remember, but it was an advertisement for someone about reaching out and touching someone, and how communication is the beginning of understanding. It was a telecommunications company, if I recall correctly. And you think about that now, it's like, well, that's that's not the way it's happening. Nobody's communicating. They're throwing information back and forth, like, little information darts, oh, here's some information, and here's another, check this out too. Oh, here, you know what I mean? Check these out, and then I'll get back to you later. And I mean, I send people information a lot, try to strike up conversation, but so I'm guilty, I guess. I throw stuff out there to see if there's any life, I sort of like throw a hook in the water and see if I can pull anything out, but it's amazing that there's just not much there. And that's why I was talking to Stacy about. It's like, there's very few real people here. I've heard so many people over the past few years talk about NPCs and non-player characters, and I called them not properly calibrated, but it doesn't really matter. It's all the idea of, are these people real people, or aren't they? And I have my doubts that at this point, I feel like I have my doubts whether most of the people that I see around me are actually real. I mean, I can communicate with them, but only to a certain point. And when you try to go beyond that point, it's like, nope. They're only programmed for that much conversation, and that's it. And all of their defenses pop up if you go outside of those bounds. And so lately I've sort of, I guess without even realizing it, I've sort of been testing the waters that way. I've been seeing if I can dredge anything up that's still alive out there. And this is part of why I'm so tired of this place, and Stacy agreed with me when I was talking to her. Part of the reason that we're so tired of this place is because there aren't other people that are talking about the things that we are. And there's just a very, very limited, small group, it would seem, that we're being allowed to at least know about around us. And I do believe the communication between all of us is absolutely being interfered with and manipulated to make sure that there's less real communication and more misunderstanding. That's a personal feeling based on things that I've been noticing. And you can take it or leave it, but that's how I feel about it. And I can't wait to go. And this is why, because the energy here, I mean, look at this particular platform, and you know what I'm talking about. Think of a sheep and the name you. Anyway, YouTube, and you realize that, I have released comments that have been blocked in my own section, and they aren't posted. Nobody can see the comments. I'm shadow banned from several channels Communication is what we need, but there are a lot of people out there, there's certain parts of people out there that do not want us to communicate very well. And there's all kinds of ways to interfere with us here, because this is not our turf. We're kind of like on a waity. This is really not our world, and I'm glad to know that, our prime directive is to go into all the world and preach the gospel. It's not a non-interference directive at all. It's an interference directive. We're supposed to come down here and freaking interfere. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's why we're here. We're here to interfere with the whole system the way that it is, and all these people on a big conveyor belt to hell. We're here to rescue them, and we don't have much time left. And personally, I'm getting so tired of trying to have conversations with anybody only to find out that I've been wasting my time talking to someone who wasn't actually there in the first place, And so I need to pray around those obstacles. I guess I think I need to pray so I'm a little more aware, because I tend to be pretty open, and I need to be a little more aware of who may be receptive and who may not be, and just pray a lot more for guidance of the Spirit, because I'm getting a little edgy when it comes to talking to almost anyone lately. Just at the same time, I'm very curious to probe just a little bit to see if they're real or not, because seriously, what we would consider to be real people, I don't think there's very many of them out there. That's what I was trying to say yesterday to my friend Stacy. I just don't think there's very many of them out there. I don't think there's a lot of us out there that are having this conversation. I would love to see, groups of 20 people in one room having a conversation about something like this very open-mindedly, and, but you just don't see it. You don't see it because most people can't find. It's hard to say what it is. It's almost like, one of those puzzles where you're trying to find your way into the center, and that's where you're trying to get to, and you're coming from the outside, and you've got all these different mazes to go through, right, and there's dead ends and all kinds of stuff, right? And it's like there are some puzzles, I feel like, as if those puzzles are people, that there's only so many layers deep into the puzzle you can get, and then it's not puzzling anymore. It's just the end of it, and that was all it ever was, because they're just not really much of a puzzle. There's just not much there. It's almost all solved right on the surface in the first 4 or 5 lines of this puzzle that goes maybe 20 lines deep, right? It's sad. And this is what I saw back in 2015. It's sad because I realized that people are holding up these images of themselves that isn't them, and they kind of like know it isn't them, but it makes them feel better to think that it is, and others know that it isn't them, and they're just BSing everybody. And this place is just so insincere, and that's the only word that I've ever found that really politely describes the lies, is this whole place, and so many people here are just insincere. And it's getting worse, and it feels like it's getting very oppressive. And I have to keep remembering to pray the Spirit of God over me in the morning, and step outside, with the right frame of mind before I start anything, because it really is. You're being attacked as soon as you walk outside the door. As soon as you stop praying, you're under assault. That's how I see it lately. So I don't think we have much longer to be here. I certainly hope not. It's going to get ugly quick, and it's just consistently getting worse all the time. So our hope is Jesus. All of the signs are pointing to now. It's imminent, it seems to me. I don't see, like, every time I see something else happens that drops into place for prophetic fulfillment, it blows my mind that we're even still here. And I've heard so many people say the same thing. We're shocked that we're still here. We don't expect to be here longer. Not much longer. So get ready. Get ready. Ready to fly. If you're not already. Love you all. Hope you're having a nice day today. And I've got a lot of things to do. Maybe a little bit more of a story later as things firm up a little bit more. I've been praying about something, and if anything, if you would like to pray about something, I would ask personal prayer about decisions that are coming up. Just changes I'm thinking about, and I'm submitting to God. I'm leaving it all up to Him. It's all up to Him. We'll see where it goes. But at any rate, love y'all. Hope you have a nice day. Take care.